TIFU by possibly losing my job offer because I was being dumb during a drug test. Before I start, I know how dumb this is going to sound. Looking back, I know what I did was stupid. So I don't need people telling me what I already know. So I got a job offer and they wanted me to do a drug test. Today I went to get that done. What I did was pee in the toilet. And then take the cup and scoop the water. Like I said, I now realize how dumb this sounds. I have never had to take a drug test before this and just assumed this is what I was supposed to do. Nobody ever told me anything. I have never done drugs a day in my life. But I now understand this looks sketchy because people try to dilute their urine. So basically the nurse lady got mad at me. Understandably. They made me go to a different location and do an observed test with a doctor. And I did that fine. They have to send both samples to the lab to inspect them. What I'm afraid of now is they'll think I purposely diluted the first sample and revoke my job offer. Once again, please don't insult me in the comments. I know what I did was extremely dumb. I am probably the first one in the history of mankind to do this. I am thinking maybe I'm not smart enough for this job if I can't even do this right. TLD or did first drug test wrong and had to redo. Now I'm afraid my job offer will get revoked. When my cousin was 17, he had his first job interview. Manager, can you pass a drug test? Quote, cousin, by when? Quote, manager, this interview is over. I've heard worse drug test stories. You'll laugh at this in time. You won't lose your job if they made you take a second test. The first will come back as a negative dilute, which means that you just had too much water in the sample. This can happen because you literally drink too much water before the test. The second, if you are clean, will be properly done and show a negative test. I had a negative dilute at a job because I was training for a marathon and drinking a ton of water a day. I didn't realize that the 40 ounces of water in the morning before my 12 p.m. test could throw it off. They said no big deal, just take it again. Passed with flying colors. Ha! That's a good one. There's a temperature strip on the side, which is how they could tell that something was up. My son had to take a drug test for Amazon a while back. He drank like 60 ounces of water and a couple Red Bulls just to make sure he could pee. Was on the verge of pissing his pants the whole way there and while sitting in the waiting room. Like crawling up the walls needing to pee so bad. They finally called him up to the counter and handed him a cheek swab. Whenever I've had an employment drug test, they always put some kind of blue chemical in the toilet bowl so that you can't do this. My buddy is a regular smoker and one day his boss told him to expect to be drug tested in the coming weeks. My buddy quit smoking cold turkey and waited. Weeks passed and he asked his boss when the drug test was coming and his boss told him it was cancelled. My buddy tells his boss that it sucks he stopped smoking weed for nothing and his boss laughed and said, "We don't test for THC. You're not going to lose the job because of an awkward social thing like this." The company won't disclose operational procedures to the job and the job's not going to ask because they don't care. As long as you were clean, you're good. I went in for a drug test for a refinery job. They also had me take a breathalyzer. I joked that there was no way anyone shows up to their drug test drunk. The woman informed me that not only do people show up drunk, they show up all the time drunk. Or high on cocaine. Lol, instructions are a What kind of shitty facility doesn't explain how to do it? I've never had someone not explain the steps. 1. Empty pockets. 2. Wash hands. 3. Fill cup above line. 4. Don't flush. They're probably just going to test both and make sure the one you scooped doesn't have drugs in it. Also to see if you were buying yourself time to test clean. My very first drug test was after interviewing for a job at an oil change shop. After talking for a while, the manager had followed him downstairs to the employee break room for a drug test. He pulled a blunt out of his pocket, sparked it and passed it to me. That was the test. This is the second drug test story I've seen today. It's so wild to me that so many jobs in the USA, making an assumption on this story, require drug testing to get the job. I've never peed in a bottle for a job in my life. You wouldn't believe the shenanigans they see in a urinalysis office. Patients get nervous and say they need to wait another hour or two. The office politely notes this, but replies that they have to count that as a refusal to test patients play games with the sink, the toilet tank. The office shuts off the plumbing and stains the in-toilet water blue as a potential fraud marker. Patients make preemptive excuses about the meds they took last night. Patients bring uric materials in with them. Patients plead, offer bribes, etc. So long as you immediately retook the test and passed, you'll be okay. Your slip-up, assuming it was a slip-up, is at a quantum level higher than the worst of the worst. I was first tested in my early 30s. Left the meeting where I was told same-day drug testing was part of the offer. Stopped at the bathroom and made my way to the test. They call me back to the room where I hop into the chair they clearly used to draw blood. All good, I've done that many times. Roll up my sleeve and get ready. The tech looks at me, hands me a cup, and tells me the bathroom is down the hall. At this point I say I've never been tested. I don't think I can produce enough urine since I just went. She says to do my best and I damn near overflowed that thing. Don't sweat it. You're not the only naive square out there. If for whatever reason anybody asks you what was up with that at your new job, you just tell them this story exactly as you told us. At least you didn't poop in the little cup. I did that when I was 18. Nurse was pissed. It shouldn't matter. Test will read negative dilute, and companies can either accept that or retest. Since you already did a retest, you should be fine. The lab and employer don't have any means to communicate other than a standard results form. Your employer won't even know about this. I worked for a government contractor for 8 years that drug tested all new hires, and I got the results of the tests. Drug tests are so dumb. No one outside of one random HR intern is even going to see your results. And that intern isn't going to care because he just wants the pass result so he can check a box to your hiring manager that you passed all pre-employment stuff. Don't sweat this mix-up at all. Don't feel too bad. They are supposed to explain how to do the test. I honestly wouldn't hold it against you if you did the test wrong and then was honest about it. I used to do drug testing for a psych facility, only to ensure the patient wasn't doing drugs that would interact with their medication. If I noticed something was off on the test and asked and you told me honestly what you did, I would just trust you and ask for a retest, because I know people can be ignorant about things they have not experienced.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.